let's get into it. We got,
What is the black girlfriend effect?
You just glow up the other culture.
Yeah, so you'll see a guy who's had a black girlfriend. All of a sudden, he's got buzz cut, like clean shape up.
Glows
up, bro.
Yeah, I like that.
I like that. They shave their hair because they start losing it. Because they're so stressed being around this black girl complaining. That's why they got to shave their hair.
Nah, bro. White guys with black girlfriends,
they grow a beard because there's more cushion when they get slapped.
That's hilarious. We just wanted to address.
Yeah, let's go ahead and pause that right there. So, for audience, we're covering right now a video on Andrew Shultz podcast, was interviewing two guys from out of the country. They're there on their tour, and they're talking about what the black woman effect is. And I'm sure a lot of you out there, you know what it is. The black woman effect is the idea that when a black woman gets with a man, specifically a non-black man, that she helps him, assists him in becoming more suave and clean cut and getting a certain look that's, and within the black context, to be more of an attractive look, from how you do your beard, the kind of fades you're getting, the edge ups, all those kind of things, even the garb, all of that stuff is meant to be enhanced by the black woman's ability to enhance his fashion. So that's the black woman effect. He makes a joke about it. Now that we're talking about, before we get into it, they talk about what they go into, they're going to apologize here shortly about it. They're laughing, they're having a good time. Andrew Schultz laughing, he makes a joke. He's a comedian. He make people laugh because that's the things comedians do. That's a quote from Serious Jones. Serious Jones when his battle of Murder Mook. But that's what he made a joke. Comedians make fun of everybody. I want everybody to understand. Comedians make fun of everybody. Is the black woman effect a real thing? I don't know. I've always dressed like this and worn my hair like this. So whether it's a black woman or not, this is how I look. If I try to think outside of myself, I've seen a little bit of everything. But let's just say it's a real thing. It's a cultural thing. It's a cultural taste. It's an aesthetic that maybe certain demographics find more alluring. It's not greater or better than any other kind of look. Maybe subjectively to you, or maybe to me, maybe to black women, but it's a fun thing to discuss. But it's not an objective thing. People can have different tastes in what's attractive. Some folks may see the way I'm looking and the way my stuff is and might not find it attractive, and that's fine. Maybe I should, get rid of the beard and just have a mustache. Maybe I should be clean shaven completely. People that are clean shaven are considered more trustworthy. That's why you notice presidents, they don't have any facial hair. It's one reason. So there's other metrics and intentions when people are cleaning up themselves, doing what they got to do to make themselves look presentable, to be able to have the social mobility they want in their respective occupations and their business situations. So the black woman effect, it's fun, it's cool to talk about. There's definitely some truth to it, but is this a real thing that people should be bragging about or laughing about? I don't really think so. Laughing about, you can laugh about it, but as far as bragging about it, it's only going to be a brag-worthy thing to note to those who are within that demographic. And I would say that that's a very small demographic compared to the overall population of the world. So I don't think it's something that we should, as a black community specifically, pedestalize and say, look, this is how amazing we are. Look what we do. We take a non-black man and make him look better and dress better. There's some aspects of our fashion and our culture that aren't the best. I'm not going to get into that portion of it, but there's balance in everything. There's a yin and a yang. There's pros and cons. There's trade-offs with everything. The haircut he get now may not cost as much as the haircut he was getting when he was with the black lady. It may not be fiscally responsible all the time to dress like we like to dress and to do what we do. Some people like more of a natural line instead of the edge up line. Denzel Washington, he was notorious for not getting edge ups. He had edge up in Training Day, but he didn't have edge up in a lot of his movies. And some people don't think that looks good. I've heard women and mainly women, but even some men, especially the ones who are non-black, say, I don't like the fact that y'all's line is so artificial. why not just rock more of a natural look? So the black woman effect is subjective to those who find that look attractive. The world's over 8 billion people. Not everybody finds that attractive. We can continue, unless you got something.
Yes, sir, I do. I want to go over some comments. One of the comments said the problem with Andrew's joke is that it's wrapped in racial microaggression. And as the great David Chappelle said, when making a joke, don't punch down. Any thoughts on that?
Well, I'm gonna try to deal. I'm gonna separate the two different comments here, and then I'll address them as such. So the problem with Andrew jokes is that it's wrapped in racial microaggressions. That's an opinion. The joke could be wrapped in racial microaggressions, or the joke could just be what it actually is. It's a joke. Andrew Shultz has not demonstrated much to make us think that he's acting aggressive, passive aggressive, microaggressive, any of those kind of, or just aggressive. We don't have anything to really say that he's doing that. The joke was meant to be a funny joke on topic. He didn't go out of his way to say the joke. They pretty much kind of set it up for him to knock out the park. And also, if you're going to put yourself out there and say black girl magic, Indian girl magic, black man magic, if you're going to pedestalize yourself in some kind of way, and then also in a microaggressive kind of way, if we're going to take it the way this person's taking it, if you're going to be the one putting yourself out there like that and saying this right here is better than what's out there, because we're saying, let's be honest, we're saying black woman effect. We're saying that this black women have this ability, this seemingly innate ability, because we're not saying black women's culture, imagine. We're saying black women, so this is some kind of innate ability in women or whatever, black women to be able to make a man more attractive. Mm-hmm. That's subjective. Mm-hmm. That could be a shot at other people groups, other minority groups, other groups that are not considered minorities. Most people in the world are impoverished. Getting a fade and getting the edge up and dressing in nice clothing is the least of their worries. Are you taking a shot at them? So that's the problem with this kind of a comment right here. The assumption is a microaggression. From a biblical standpoint, that'd be considered fault finding or having evil suspicions. Where's the context to prove this? This is a witch hunt. Just, I don't like what you said, it's a microaggression. And then the second part, and as the great Dave Chappelle said, when making a joke, don't punch down. Oh, come on now. Okay, first we have to establish what don't punch down means. Now, I can get what they're trying to say. They're saying in the system that we're in right now, there are certain groups that are considered to be less than. They're less than in the sense of access to things that is necessary, like resources, access to privilege, whatever it might be. So they're saying culturally they already have a lot of negative stigma attached to them. They already get the short end of the stick. Don't make a joke at their expense. The problem with that is that's an opinion. You just said black girl magic. So you got this magic. Ladies, black women can call themselves divas and queens and all the different things they go about that. What if the broader society doesn't look down on you or don't think they're punching down by making jokes about you? I was just hearing a doctor on the internet recently saying that whenever you can make fun of yourself and you can laugh at jokes regarding you, it shows that you're civil, that you don't take yourself too seriously, that, hey, we're all on the same playing field. Think about it in your own life. When you're around people that you know and don't know, can you laugh at yourself? Can you make fun of yourself? Can you accept somebody making fun of you? As long as it's not in a disrespectful kind of way. That's a bigger indication of who you are and whether you're punching down or not. You might be down morally. You may be down ethically. You may be down civilly. You might not be down in a cultural way to most people. I've heard many people that are non-black say that I look up to black people. Black people control the culture. Whether that's true or not, the point that I'm making is your assumption that it's down. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's down.
I got a question. Can you elaborate more when you said that as long as not in a disrespectful way as far as a joke? Because I think some of the audience might consider what Andrew Tate said about black women could be considered disrespectful. So can you elaborate on, as long as it's not in a disrespectful way, when you're telling a joke?
Well, the thing about that is going to be somewhat difficult to elaborate on that, just due to the fact that people find different things disrespectful, especially ladies. They've already done a study on this, and they've done numerous studies on this, and we know this. Anybody who's worked in HR knows this. The majority of the complaints in HR are going to be filed by ladies. Let's keep it real.
Yeah, let's talk about it.
So they've already done a study. Well, I'll give you two studies. And I mentioned this before in shows in the past. One was a study involving babies, toddlers, something like that. And they put obstacles in these babies' way, and they had their moms calling for them, saying, hey, come here, come here, come here, come here. And the moms are calling for the babies. Some are boys, some are girls. When the boys faced obstacles in the course that inhibited those them from getting to their mother, they would knock the obstacles out of the way, try to crawl over the obstacles. They try to find ways to solve the problem. When the girls had obstacles in their way, what do? They would cry. That's as babies before socialization, because that's the common rejoinder. So that's because of socialization. We teach our boys to be warriors. We teach our girls to be weak, and whatever variation of those terms you want to use. Study number 2. They did an experiment where they had women and men. They thought that what they were doing is a study to see if they would face discrimination when it comes to interviews based off facial deformities. So they put makeup on them that gave them marks or scars on their face, whatever the case may have been. And when they put that stuff on top of their face, they say, hey, look, you're going to go in here and do an interview. And after that, you're going to come back and you'll let us know whether or not you face any type of discrimination based off of the fact that you had that facial deformity. So as they're leaving the room, they say, hey, let me touch something up real quick. They remove the scar without the person involved in this experiment knowing about it. So the women and men, they did their interviews and they came back and they interviewed them and said, hey, look, how did it go with this interview? Did you face discrimination? And anybody that's worked in corporate America, anybody that's had daughters or moms or aunts or whatever the case may be knows who believe they face discrimination. The ladies. Not only did the ladies say they face discrimination, they also quoted the interviewer things that they believe that they said that insinuated with some kind of microaggression or whatever it might have been, and to the effect of them being discriminated against because of their deformity. What do the men generally say? I didn't notice any discrimination. This is not to put ladies down or to put men up. It's just saying that some people are more predisposed to viewing themselves as being the victim. Doesn't mean they're not ever victims. Doesn't mean they don't face discrimination at times. But we all know some people believe they're getting discriminated against. And that's something this is not a gender thing. It can happen to women and it can happen to men. It's just women are more likely to do it. So when women are talking about microaggressions and saying that they're punching down, you got to ask yourself the question, am I playing the victim? What absolves me from dealing with the same type of jokes at my expense as everybody else? As Indian women and Asian women and Asian men and Middle Eastern men and women. If we want equality, we want to be treated equal, we want to be viewed as equal, you can't be like, you can joke with everybody in here but me. When you do stuff like that, it makes people despise you. We all knew that growing up. Maybe a kid was a favorite, maybe in class a certain kid was the favorite, teacher's pet. How do the students feel about that kid? Let's be real. How do students feel about that kid? Nobody likes that. When I'm in the business world, people are talking about people feel like somebody gets special treatment, nepotism, whatever the case may be. What ends up happening? People complain. It brings down the morale. Why are they getting special treatment? it's a conflict of interest. If you got a black comedian up there and he's making fun of everybody, but he don't make fun of black women, how does that look? Is that going to help with racial progression, cultural progression, or is that going to label, stigmatize certain people? Don't do that to yourself. So that's what I say about that comment.
Let's get into the apology.
We just wanted to address something that's happening at the minute. This past weekend, there's been a couple of clips going around from when we did a session on the Flagrant podcast while we were on our US tour.